No, we aren't predicting where the rookie class is going to land in the draft. We are telling you
Yes.
100% exactly where the rookie class is going to land in the 2024 NFL draft. We know the future because we live in the future. We're
Exactly.
living in Australia. We're already 15 hours ahead of you. So don't worry. All these are 100% correct. That's right. We are predicting the landing spots for all of your favorite dynasty rookies, and we're going to talk about how that would impact their draft capital.
Yes.
Quick mention of these names before we start. We felt like these names, it would be a disservice to make a video on them because for the most part, they're pretty well established on the possibilities of where they could go. We're going to go back and forth. The first name we're going to talk about today is Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah.
Who likes Brian Thomas Jr. out there? Well, do you want me to tell you exactly where he's going to land in the NFL draft?
I want to know.
Let's talk about it then. First, let's talk about some realistic landing spots. I'm going to name off a couple before I tell you where I think he's going. I think he'd go to the Jets, round 1, pick 10. I think that is his ceiling. I think that is the highest that he could go off the board. With the Jets signing Tyron Smith, the left tackle from the Cowboys, it gives the Jets a ton of more flexibility to add weapons instead of being locked in at offensive tackle like they have been for most mock drafts. I think he'd go to the Broncos, round 1, pick 12. They just traded Jerry Jeudy to the Browns. No, they're not the same player, but Courtland Sutton has also been in and out of contract talks. He's been in and out of trade talks as well.
Right.
And there's clearly no wide receiver 1 on this team when you look towards the future of the Sean Payton era. How about the Cowboys, round 1, pick 24? That would be a Cowboy pick. A big wide receiver in round 1 that Jerry Jones has got his eyes on. Someone to complement CeeDee Lamb long term as he signs that big contract here soon. The Bills make a ton of sense. You see that in every mock draft. The Bills,
100%.
round 1, pick 28. They lost Gabe Davis in free agency. Curtis Samuel doesn't stop you from drafting a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. Clearly, this offense is in need of a real difference maker that can complement Stephon Diggs and stretch the field vertically. All right, so we talked about where he could go. Let me tell you exactly where he's landing with 100% certainty.
Oh, boy.
Hopefully people get that. He is going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar, round 1, pick 17.
Oh.
He's going to the Jags, round 1, pick 17. This team just lost Calvin Ridley in free agency. Gabe Davis is not the type of talent to elevate an offense. We already know that after multiple years of evidence. Right. And Gabe Davis complements what the Jags currently have really, really well. No disrespect to Gabe Davis, but he's not really like, you don't feel like he's an alpha X wide receiver. You know, he can play the Z if that floats your boat, but they have no true X wide receiver on the team. You got Christian Kirk in the slot. You got Gabe Davis playing opposite side of the X. You got Evan Ingram out of the tight end spot. How about Brian Thomas straight in that alpha X role for this team? Okay. He can stretch the field vertically. And if you think about it, Trevor Lawrence hasn't had a player like this yet. I know he had Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley and Brian Thomas are different players. I hope we all would be on the same page in saying that, right?
Yeah.
They are different players. This could be the weapon Trevor Lawrence has been waiting for. Big body, can stretch the field vertically, has strong, reliable hands. We haven't seen that really that much. He had an 82.1 catch percentage last year at LSU. That is third best of any wide receiver with 50 targets. He had a 60% contested catch rate. The Jags have not addressed wide receiver in round 1 of an NFL draft since Trevor Lawrence era started. That ends this year. And if this actually were to happen and Brian Thomas ends up being a Jag,
it's happening.
And we know it's happening.
Yeah.
I would probably rank him right around wide receiver 24 in my dynasty rankings. That's going to be battling out with the likes of DK Metcalf, George Pickens, Jaden Reed. That's the kind of territory I would view him if this were to happen. That's how his dynasty stock would be changed. But Aki, who is the next player that we just know for sure exactly where the player's landing?
100%. And that's J.J. McCarthy. I think one of the most, talked about players in the NFL draft at the moment at the quarterback position here. And like Zach, I'm going to be giving you some landing spots I can't definitely see him going to, but I know the exact
some guys that you found out were in talks before the actual
100%. 100%. Yeah. And the first one here, I think the most well-known is the Minnesota Vikings, right? They trade up into the second round in the second half, getting that 23rd pick. Then you lost Kirk Cousins. You know, they once again get that extra pick in that first round. Let's be honest here. If you are a GM in the top 5 picks and you're saying I can have 2 first-round picks, one in 11 and one in 10 and 23, maybe you get a little bit extra. I'm not sure if I want to give up a blue-collar, quote-unquote blue-collar type of talent in the top 5 where then I get 2 picks in the middle and at the back of the first round. Me personally, if I'm a GM, I'm not doing that. I had a couple calls to the Vikings, and they said, you know what? We're just doing something else, okay? Keep that in mind. Second team, the Denver Broncos. I think they're kind of in that same position. Another team that can trade up to either 4 or 5. They just got rid of Russell Wilson. They got rid of Jerry Jeudy. Justin Simmons is now a free agent here. Sean Payton is in one of the worst situations, I say, for a head coach with that Russell Wilson contract. He wants to completely strip this team, but I'm not necessarily sure if he wants to give up more draft capital to move up to get his quarterback and not have capital to build his team later on in the future. And a dark horse team. And this was just for fun. The Los Angeles Chargers. Does Jim Harbaugh really love J.J. McCarthy? He said it himself. He's the QB1 on this team. I highly doubt this happens. You're not going to trade away Justin Fields, number one. But does Jim Harbaugh have the balls to actually trade him away to get his quarterback from college? I doubt it. But let me tell you the exact landing spot he's going to. And I don't like this because I am a New York Football Giants fan, and that's exactly where he's going. With the 5th pick in the NFL draft. Actually, they trade up to the 5th pick with the Chargers because one of those teams might jump in. The Minnesota Vikings, like I said, the Denver Broncos. I don't like this. I'm a Giants fan, and I don't want this to happen because I would rather them take Malik Neighbors here. But the Giants need a quarterback. The history with Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen of them getting Josh Allen. There was controversy of them trading up for Josh Allen. I think we might see a similar pathway here. It was like, why are the Giants trading up a couple spots to get J.J. McCarthy, who is not a done deal? Josh Allen had all the same traits, or not all the same traits, had all the traits of a quarterback, but really struggled. J.J. McCarthy have the traits, but also struggled at times, right? Like, that's what is exciting here for Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, the possibility of the ceiling that they can see with J.J. McCarthy here. So I think that's exactly, I know that's exactly where he's going, to my beloved New York Football Giants. I don't want it, but I'm going to have to be okay with it. By the way, Daniel Jones, we appreciate your time. What does this mean for fantasy or dynasty rankings? He would actually be in my QB 16 in my dynasty rankings because I actually don't expect him to start in the first half of the season. I think his value is going to be rising later on in the second half of the season when, maybe DJ gets benched and then you kind of see JJ kind of take over that process. But I will say, in your rookie drafts, rookie real drafts, he will go around the 107, 108, right after Rome Odunze and or Brock Bowers there. He'll be at that middle of the pick there for your rookie draft. So that's JJ McCarthy for me.
JJ to the Giants. I'm sorry, all Giants fans.
I don't want it.
Don't sleep on JJ.
I don't want it.
All right. A big name that has been loved by the dynasty community, at times now hated. There's up, there's down, there's a little bit of prospect fatigue. But Brock Bowers. People, no one knows where Brock Bowers... I know. I'm going to tell you where Brock Bowers is going to land in the NFL draft. But first, we'll talk about some spots that make sense. The Chargers at pick 5. It makes so much sense.
100%.
It's a hot spot for Harbaugh and Roman's offense. It would make sense. He would fit the offense like a glove. This is clearly the number one spot for Brock Bowers for fantasy purposes. But I do think, due to positional value, Brock Bowers is going to fall outside of the top 5.
Agreed.
The other team inside the top 10 that would make sense, how about the Tennessee Titans? We heard Brian Callahan talk about how he wants to build Tennessee's offense the way they built around Joe Burrow in Cincinnati when he was the offensive coordinator. Well, giving Will Levis a supporting cast of Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Brock Bowers, and Treylon Burks is going to quickly tell you exactly what you need to know about Will Levis, okay? No more questions you will have about him and what he could be for your team. The third team inside the top 10 that makes sense, the New York Jets. Same thing that we talked about with Brian Thomas Jr. They brought in Tyron Smith, one of the league's best left tackles. You don't have to go offensive tackle here if you perceive a weapon that is worth it.
Right.
I don't think he's going inside the top 10, okay? Another team that makes sense, how about the Indianapolis Colts at pick 15? I could totally see this happening. Absolutely, it would make sense. Shane Steichen has a history of employing, of course, but rather, using his word, the tight end position. In Los Angeles with the Chargers, he deployed Hunter Henry within his offense. in Philadelphia. Dallas Goedert was a big piece of that Philly offense when he was there. But let me tell you, I think it's inevitable, and I'm projecting a little bit here, that Brock Bowers is going to fall down the NFL draft.
Okay.
I believe he
I would
lands
agree there.
pick 18 to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
A couple reasons why. Again, big projection for me. I think when all is said and done, we will see Bowers fall purely because he's a tight end and he's undersized as a tight end. That is going to be the narrative moving forward. Don't hate me. I'm the messenger. I'm the vessel here, okay?
The vessel.
But last year, at this time, most people believed Michael Mayer was a lock for the first round. Every single mock draft you were looking at, Michael Mayer round 1, Michael Mayer round 1, top 15, top 20, top 25. Everyone thought there's no way Mayer gets out of round 1. Okay? Everyone is hyperbole, right? But right now, most people believe Brock Bowers is a locked and loaded top 10 pick. We just believe that for the most part in the Dynasty community. People will be shocked if he falls out the top 10, top 15. So typically tight ends, safeties, linebackers always fall down draft boards until you see a team where you say that team just couldn't pass on that player. There's just no way if he falls here, they could pass on a Brock Bowers. To me, that is the Bengals, because the Bengals are trying to answer two questions. How do we replace T. Higgins' production long term? Number 2, how can we compete with Kansas City? What does Kansas City have that we do not have? You don't have an impact player at the tight end position. So he's going to Cincinnati, linking up with Joe Burrow. And in Dynasty, this would be absolutely beautiful. We would be, talking about Brock Bowers battling out for the tight end 3 spot. I'm not saying he would have it, but it's Mark Andrews, it's Kyle Pitts, and it's Brock Bowers, who is the tight end 3 in Dynasty football. All 3 of those guys would have extreme security at the quarterback position, and they're all special talents. So all signs point towards wheels up for those 3 players. So, man, top 3, top 5, somewhere in that range, Brock Bowers would be day 1 if he goes to the Cincinnati Bengals in the first round.
Cincinnati Bengals, kind of where everyone was predicting. Let's see. I do agree. He will fall in the draft.
You've seen people predict that?
I haven't seen anyone. Remember early in the offseason when he was going 18 and then it went all the way up to like top 5 picks.
Oh, okay, fair.
Yeah. I was just thinking like right when the offseason kind of started. Anyways, my second player on the list here, another wide receiver we all love, Rome Odunze here.
Yes.
And this guy's not falling outside the top 10. We gotta know. We all been talking about this after this NFL Combine here. Here's some realistic landing spots, and I'll tell you at the end where he's actually going. My beloved New York Football Giants. If they don't get J.J. McCarthy, maybe another team does jump them at the number 6 pick, right? They go Rome Odunze, the best available wide receiver that's there, right? Marvin Harrison Jr. is gone. Malik Nabers is gone. I think they're going to get a playmaker at the wide receiver position for Daniel Jones or Drew Lock. Team 2, the Chicago Bears. If Rome Odunze falls to the number 9 pick in this NFL draft, and Caleb Williams is there, which let's be honest, he's already locked in. You have DJ Moore. They traded for Keenan Allen. They paid DeAndre Swift. You have Cole Kmet, and then Rome Odunze. Oh my goodness! If the Bears do that, they have swindled everyone in this draft from the jump, not even going past the first 10 picks of this draft. And third team is the Los Angeles Chargers. With Mike Williams, Keenan Allen both gone, Rome Odunze should be the easiest pick for the Chargers if they are after a wide receiver. You kind of expect either Marvin Harrison Jr. potentially going to New England maybe, right? Or the Arizona Cardinals, or Malik Nabers going to the Arizona Cardinals, and maybe the Chargers wanted those top 3 wide receivers. Rome Odunze could potentially be going to the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, the spot that Rome Odunze is going to, I don't think a lot of people are going to like this, because you're saying, well, they just paid somebody. That's the Tennessee Titans in pick 7. I know.
Okay.
They signed Calvin Ridley, a 3-year, $92 million contract. But you have to remember, this head coach, Brian Callahan, who was a big part of drafting Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell, was a huge part of getting T. Higgins in that second round. DeAndre Hopkins has an out currently on his contract. It may be a $7.8 million cap hit, but I will not be surprised if they draft Rome Odunze just to get another weapon on top of this crazy offense. And what's good about this is that this offensive line class is pretty stacked. They can get an offensive line in the second round, in the third round, and still be okay. right? One of the biggest needs, right? We all think Joe Alt is going to be going to the Tennessee Titans because that's exactly what they need for this Tennessee Titans offense. We've seen that already with Ja'Marr Chase and Penei Sewell. And granted, they both worked out. And I would say this. I think he was going to go that exact same pathway. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Will Levis, DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, Rome Odunze, Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, Chig Okonkwo. That is everything to put Will Levis to be successful in the NFL draft with a proven veteran. 2 proven veterans in DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley, a rookie he can grow with, and 2 dual running backs that can catch the ball in the backfields. I mean, I think this is the perfect landing spot. I think a lot of people are going to scratch their head and be like, well, I don't really like this because you just signed Calvin. Be prepared for something that you're not going to like in this NFL draft. We saw it with Zach Charbonnet last year. Okay? So for me, Rome Odunze would probably be a top 15 wide receiver in my personal rankings over Pittman, Brandon Ayuk, the T. Higgins of the world. Maybe he will rise. Maybe I'm being a little bit too low on him in this landing spot, but he'll be top 15 in my rankings.
All right, so my RB1 in the class. Where do the running backs come off the board in the 2024 NFL Draft? Well, clearly not round 1. So we're going to look at rounds 2 and 3 and talk about it. A couple spots that could really make sense. Round 3, the Chargers, pick 69.
Yep.
You know, we keep talking about how important the run game is for Harbaugh and Roman, but they currently have Gus Edwards as their main running back. If this is their identity, they better add another name to that backfield. No disrespect to Gus Bus. How about the next pick? The Giants at pick 70.
Go on, baby.
Right now they have Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary's offensive coordinator in Buffalo was Brian Daboll, his head coach. Did Brian Daboll ever truly relinquish the keys to Devin Singletary as a workhorse back? No, he did not. That was a true timeshare for most of the time that Devin Singletary was in Buffalo. The next team that makes sense, how about the Raiders pick 77 in round 3? Are we really going to trust Zamir White? A guy who couldn't really get, inside the rotation with Josh Jacobs there. Are we going to trust him to carry the workload for this, new look Antonio Pierce Raiders? Maybe they do. I know they just signed Alexander Mattison as well, but maybe that's not enough for them. Maybe they want to add more to their backfield. But let me tell you, I think at the end of the day, Benson's going to go end of round 2 or somewhere round 3. The first team in round 2 that I think might not be able to pass on a running back. They truly cannot pass on a running back. That is pick 56, the Dallas Cowboys. Round 2, pick 56. Right now, Deuce Vaughn, Deuce, is the RB1 on their depth chart. All right, followed by Malik Davis. I know Rico Dowdle signed there as well. None of these running backs are the type of guys you would point to and say, yes, that is the guy that this Dallas Cowboys team feels comfortable with going forward with this year. I mean, clearly, their run game was one of their weaknesses last year. The Cowboys need a true workhorse, a guy that they can rely on, a special athlete at the running back spot. It's very rare that the Dallas Cowboys don't have a special running back historically. Think about it. Think about how far back you could go and think about Dallas Cowboys running backs. They are not guys who go in round 5, 6, 7, undrafted, guys that you sign for a couple $1 million off of free agency. They need to fill that gap. Jerry has done that historically, and this is their opportunity to do that with Trey Benson. Not only that, but they need someone ready to go after the draft. They can't wait. They need someone to ready to go to rookie camp, training camp, preseason, and week 1. Trey Benson will be ready. He is that dude. Imagine if the Cowboys had someone they could trust on the goal line last year. How would that have transformed their offense? They just stopped running the ball inside the 5-yard line because they didn't trust Tony Pollard. No disrespect to Tony Pollard, but this is an instant upgrade for this offense. And in Dynasty, when he goes to the Cowboys, I will rank him right around RB12 range. I'm trying to ask myself, would I rather have Trey Benson round 2 running back to the Cowboys or James Cook? Do I want Trey Benson or Isaiah Pacheco? Do I want Trey Benson or David Montgomery? Those are the kind of conversations that we're going to have once he 100% goes to the Dallas Cowboys.
Once he 100% goes, lock it in. We're going to love that landing spot, and he's going to be a guy that you're going to be taking at the end of the first round, most likely in the NFL rookie drafts, okay? All right, my third player on this list, another wide receiver. I might have a run of Texas players here, so stay tuned if you're a huge Texas fan. Adonai Mitchell, okay? He's a guy that has been raising his stock in the NFL Combine, which I absolutely love. Which I don't believe he falls outside the top 20. That might be a hint already. First team that he could potentially land to is the Dallas Cowboys. Okay,
All right.
round one, pick 24. This could be a sexy landing spot for Mitchell. He stays in Texas, okay, which is really exciting. Michael Gallup was already released by the Dallas Cowboys. Clearly needs another weapon. Mitchell will easily be a significant upgrade upgrade from Michael Gallup, right? A role with a lot more things he can offer with speed, size, his route running abilities. I think it's phenomenal there for the Dallas Cowboys lining up on the other side of CeeDee Lamb. Second team here, which I don't love, but I think it is a realistic landing spot, is New Orleans Saints. I hate this landing spot, but we have to be an option. It has to be realistic, right? Because the quarterback play I don't love. You know, I don't want an inconsistent quarterback play for Adonai Mitchell here, but it makes sense. Michael Thomas is going to get released post-June 1st. That's going to leave a gap in the wide receiver room for this New Orleans Saints team of getting Mitchell slots right in. Chris Olave, Mitchell, Rashid Shaheed, and Kendre Miller with Alvin Kamara if he does stay. Not a bad lineup there with Adonai Mitchell. And the last team that we've all heard him go to is the Buffalo Bills. Round one, pick 28. Similar to the Cowboys, I don't envision personally, Adonai Mitchell falling all the way out. But if he does, this is a perfect landing spot because Diggs is 30 plus. They signed Curtis Samuel to a 3-year contract. They get rid of Gabe Davis, and he offers a lot more than what Gabe Davis does offer. Gabe Davis offered, the size, but he offers the speed, the size, and the route running ability, which is incredible there for the Buffalo Bills. But the spot he is going to.
Okay, tell us.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, round 20, or pick 20.
Wow.
Think about it. Deontay Johnson is now with Panther. The Steelers are in a prime position to get another weapon for either Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. However way you envision that quarterback play, I think it's going to be Justin Fields, probably by the second half of the season. This will potentially hurt George Pickens, right? But once again, he offers significantly more. He is a more polished route runner. He offers the speed, the size, and we've seen the success with him. And the Steelers were really big defensive players these past couple years. Well, not the past couple years, but they always get these defensive players. But they get Patrick Queen in the offseason free agency, and they fill a lot of gaps defensively. But they get rid of Deontay Johnson. Adonai Mitchell slots right in, especially with that combine performance. He was the third fastest wide receiver behind Xavier Worthy and Brian Thomas running a 4.34. They need that speed. They need that route running ability, and they need somebody that can potentially separate like Deontay Johnson used to be. Once again, whoever that quarterback is, I think this is exactly where he is going. Okay, Mitchell would definitely be my wide receiver. I would say he will fit in right into my wide receiver 23 area. I think I would be questioning Jordan Addison, the DK Metcalfs, the Deebo Samuels, even the George Pickens. I think he can easily fall within that top 25 for me. So I love Adonai Mitchell going to the Steelers.
Adonai Mitchell to the Steelers. All right, you heard it here first. All right, Ladd McConkey.
Oh, your boy.
Where is Ladd McConkey going to play in 2024? Well, I don't think he's a lock for round one. I certainly think it's a possibility. But we'll tell you some spots that make sense.
Okay.
You keep hearing the Chiefs. Round one, pick 32. You keep hearing that. You keep hearing the Chiefs are going to draft a wide receiver round one, pick 32. They have to. There's no way. That's what you keep hearing, right?
Right.
I think people are failing to realize that this team just won a Super Bowl with MVS, with Kadarius Toney, with Sky Moore, with Rashee Rice as their wide receiver room.
Right.
Okay. They just won the Super Bowl with that group. Now, I would go out on a limb, and I think most people would agree with me. The Chiefs have a better wide receiver room today than they did when they won the Super Bowl. They basically replaced MVS with Hollywood Brown. So I don't think it's 100% locked and loaded that the Chiefs are going wide receiver at pick 32. I just don't. They won a Super Bowl with a worse wide receiver room than what they have now.
Right.
I'm not saying they won't add wide receiver. I'm just not saying it's 100% going to happen pick 32. That's not been the model they have chosen to follow since trading away Tyreek Hill. They have gone defense in round one and trusted Patrick Mahomes with the weapons that they've found. Now, it would make sense if he did. But the other option, how about the Patriots round 2 pick 34? If they go quarterback in the first round, Ladd McConkey could be that separator needed for a rookie quarterback to feel some sort of confidence in their offense. Keep in mind, New England, not a great landing spot, but we can't always trust historic landing spots. We got to think outside the box. And doesn't Ladd McConkey just sound like a New England Patriot? I mean, doesn't he just sound like a Patriot? Let's be honest.
Right.
All right, the third landing spot that could make sense that not a lot of people are talking about, the Jacksonville Jaguars pick 48. Totally could make sense. Ladd has a lot of traits that could suggest to us there's evidence that he can play outside in the NFL. He played actually 75% out wide at Georgia in 2023. Maybe he can complement that room with Christian Kirk. But let me tell you exactly where Ladd McConkey is going, and you haven't heard this landing spot before. That's the NFL draft, though. Again, I'm in the future. I know this is happening for sure. Ladd McConkey is filling a much-needed hole from the Los Angeles Chargers at pick 37 in round 2. Why? That doesn't make any sense. It absolutely makes sense. They lost Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. At pick number 5, what is more likely? The Chargers going wide receiver or offensive line? Well, if all this hugabaloo that people are talking about, that Harbaugh and Roman have to establish the rock, they're absolutely establishing the rock. Well, if that's true, they're going to go Joe Alt at pick 5.
Yeah.
And Joe Alt is going to help them ground and pound into oblivion the AFC West. Okay? Mm-hmm. So in this scenario, they go the Chargers go Joe Alt in pick 5. And at pick 37, they grab Ladd McConkey, a guy that is versatile, a guy that can play outside, that can play inside. He can play in the slot. He can play outside. If you want to keep developing QJ on the outside, put Ladd in the slot. If you want to, put QJ in the slot, and try and use him after the catch a little bit more, put Ladd outside. Extremely versatile player that would fit this offense really, really well. And in Dynasty football, I'm thinking to myself, if Ladd goes to the Chargers round 2, do I think Ladd is better than Quentin Johnson? Yes. Do I think Ladd is better than Josh Palmer? Yes, I absolutely do. Do I think he's the best receiving weapon on that team from day one? Yes, I absolutely do. Ladd would be battling with Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, and Devontae Adams for my wide receiver 28 in Dynasty football. Wow. Because the opportunity is clear, the pathway is there, and he's a very talented player in what should be a very good offense with not much competition. So, Ladd McConkey to the Chargers. You heard it here first.
All right, my next player on this list, once again, I said if you're a Texas fan, stay with us here because Jonathan Brooks, my running back here on my list and where he's going to potentially be going in the NFL draft. Team 1 is my beloved New York Giants, where he could potentially be going in the 3rd round with pick 70. Singletary is there, of course, but this could be a crazy duel, and he doesn't have to rush back. I think these are some landing spots where he doesn't have to come back and be an instant impact for this team. The second team, the Dallas Cowboys in round 3. Maybe they don't go Trey Benson. Maybe they go somewhere else, right?
I'm already telling you they are. So 100% certainty.
Maybe they go 2. Nah, I'm joking. Cowboys, they stay in Texas. He stays in Texas, which is also really exciting. But that means the pressure will be on where he potentially has to start week 1 there with Rico Dowdle and or Deuce Vaughn. Third team, the Los Angeles Chargers in round 3, pick 69. Running the ball is important for Jim Harbaugh. I think we kind of heard that so many times already. A very dynamic backfield with Brooks. It, once again, has to be a little bit pressured to coming back as soon as week 1. But here's the most likely landing spot, the landing spot where he doesn't have to be pressured to come back in week 1. That is the Arizona Cardinals in round 3, pick 66. This is a sexy landing spot, and I don't think a lot of people necessarily view this as one. With James Conner being in his last year of his contract, this is a perfect situation for Brooks not having to rush into day 1, right? And he probably won't be fantasy relevant for the first half of the season because we all know James Conner is going to be playing the first 5 to 6 games and then miss weeks 6 to 10, weeks 5 to 9 because he always gets hurt in the middle of the season when it's most important. And we all saw last year how much the Cardinals struggled in the run game. Amari DiMarcado, they traded for Michael Carter. Who did they have? They were picking up people off the street saying, hey, come through because James is going to be missing some time. Jonathan Brooks is going to slot right in there in that week, in that gap where James Conner is going to be missing, and he is going to rise his stock, and he's going to be a top guy going into next year's draft. So getting Brooks for the Arizona Cardinals would be the perfect landing spot. And for me, at the moment, if we are projecting him to not rush in, I still believe he'll be a top 20 running back. He'll be my RB16 if you are predicting it. But he would easily be a top 10 or a top 12 running back in 2025 if you are looking that far into the future.
All right, I love it. Last couple names here. Bo Nix.
Brother Bo.
Very controversial name. Where is Bo Nix going to play football in 2024 and beyond? Well, here's a couple spots that made sense. These teams made calls. They played around in the market, okay? The first team that played around was the Vikings with pick 23. They traded for pick 23 from the Houston Texans. And, they made some calls. They're looking at Penix. They're looking at Bo.
Okay.
Didn't end up going that way.
Didn't like it.
Round 2, we saw the New England Patriots thinking, should we move up from round 2? Should we look at him? Should we move back from pick 3 and get capital and look at brother Bo Nix? Well, they decided not to go that way. Round 2, pick 45 with the New Orleans Saints. You want to light a fire under Derek Carr and say mediocrity is not enough for us? Well, that's what you do by trying to go out and poke around with Bo Nix. But I'm telling you, ultimately, it meant nothing because Bo Nix was not available at those picks.
Wow.
All the research those teams did ultimately fell on deaf ears. It didn't matter. He wasn't available because Sean Payton said, I need to address the quarterback position. At pick 12, the Denver Broncos draft Bo Nix. Now, look,
boy,
I have heard, because I can see the future, but it's not like crystal clear. It's like watching on 360p instead of 1080. All right.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what pick it was. I think maybe they traded down. Maybe the Broncos traded down from pick 12, got some extra draft capital, and still took Bo Nix in round 1 somewhere. Okay. But at the end of the day, Sean Payton was in a terrible spot. You got to give him a break. He ate $80 million worth of cap for cutting Russell Wilson, and he has no pick in round 2 to address the quarterback position. If he's going quarterback, it's going to have to be round 1. There is no other quarterback in free agency that even makes sense.
Right.
Are we going to see an entire year of Jarrett Stidham as the quarterback 1 for the Denver Broncos under Sean Payton? That surely is not the future that Sean Payton envisioned when he signed up a couple years ago. And by the way, 2025 has no clear quarterback 1. How much patience does Payton and ownership have here?
Exactly.
Also, I love the way Bo Nix fits in Sean Payton's offense. Bo Nix, and I say this with 100% certainty, is the best pre-snap quarterback in the class. Okay? He has an insane amount of command of an offense and understanding of what a defense is trying to do to stop his offense. Oregon would let him run the offense with complete autonomy at times. He consistently made pre-snap adjustments and showed a very high football IQ. This is one of many reasons that Drew Brees was able to be so successful with Sean Payton in New Orleans. You're looking at the Brock Purdy game manager plus type of profile here.
Yeah.
Under the right offense, under the right mind, that can flourish. And I know some people hate Bo Nix, but Sean Payton's in a corner, guys. He's in a corner. What's he going to do? Start Jarrett Stidham again and hope that a good quarterback comes in 2025 and hope that he has a good draft pick to draft that quarterback in 2025? So what, is he planning on failure this year? Is he planning on being a bad team and addressing the quarterback position in 2025? Come on. I mean, he's got to address the quarterback position somehow. I think it's Bo Nix here. And if Bo does go to the Denver Broncos somewhere in round 1, he's going to be battling with Baker Mayfield and Will Levis right around that quarterback 18, 19, 20 type of range. And, we will all be much more in on Bo Nix when he goes in round 1.
Yeah. Look, brother Bo, I love him. Denver Broncos, welcome. Welcome to the Mile High City here. All right, my last Texas player, I think you guys know, process of elimination here. Xavier Worthy, the speedster himself, running a 4.21, breaking the record. Shout out to him, huh? It's some realistic landing spots he could potentially go. The Chargers in the 2nd round, pick 37. He could potentially go there if they don't get a wide receiver in top 5. Right? Can they stretch the field and get into the mix? Can be a little bit dangerous for this offense. I like it, but I don't love it. Team 2, Dallas Cowboys. Getting a field stretcher is something they need. Lining up alongside CD would be nice, right? They don't get a big body wide receiver. They haven't gone that route where they let go of Michael Gallup. do they go a different route here with Xavier Worthy? Team 3, I said team 3 earlier, team 3. This one's interesting. The Miami Dolphins. How addicted to speed is Mike McDaniel? I mean, could he go Worthy ultimately in the first round with pick 21? I doubt it. But imagine this team: Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, Xavier Worthy. My man's addicted. He needs help if he goes Xavier Worthy, and that would be insane, genuinely insane. But my most likely landing spot, and I'm a little bit bummed about this because I was projecting Xavier Worthy. I said after that NFL Combine, I said I think he's locked in for a top first round pick, but that's not the case. After knowing what's happening now, he's going to the Carolina Panthers with the first pick in the second round. Okay. Even though the Panthers just traded for Deontay Johnson, they have Adam Thielen, they have Jonathan Mingo. They still need more weapons. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Worthy is bringing the speed, the separation for Bryce Young, the creativity as well with jet sweeps, screens, deep passes, and so much more for this offense.
I like it.
This could be a sexy landing spot here, and this is just outside the first round.
Yeah.
It's basically a first round pick, if you think about it.
Maybe. Yeah.
Basically a first round pick for Xavier Worthy here, which means he'll most likely slot. I'll put him in this gap. He's in my wide receiver 20 to 25. I couldn't really line him up with the Jaden Reeds, with the Adonai Mitchells, with, the Jordan Addisons, depending on how you feel. Once we understand the quarterback play there for Jordan Addison. So I think Xavier Worthy is that perfect fit in that window to wide receiver 20 to 25.
All right, Xavier Worthy. I think that he actually would complement Deontay Johnson really well. Deontay's not stretching the field like that, vertically. He's definitely getting open, but he's not stretching the field like that. They need a Worthy. They need a Franklin. They need somebody to stretch the field for them. So I like that pick a lot. All right. That's where some of your favorite players go in the NFL draft. You don't like it? I'm sorry. We're from the future.
We are, literally.
I don't know what we are from the future. I don't know what to tell you. We're trying to get you prepared. I mean, prepare for the coming of Lasan Al-Gaib. All right. But that is it for today, guys. Do us a favor. Smash that like button to show some love. Subscribe if you like Dynasty content. We will just quickly let you know that if you want to support the show, it's very simple. All you need to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND.
Yes.
And you will get everything you see on your screen. Our 2024 rookie report, our rankings for rookies and for dynasties, a dynasty team review on a live stream. We can break down your team for you on a team review. But that's it for today. We appreciate you. We'll see you soon. All up. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, L-A-N-D, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy. Even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.